I'm Nancy Smith Maddox, recording from Charlotte, North Carolina on WYTV7 on Shine Your Light Radio Ministry. I've missed y'all the past few weeks, haven't been able to get it together, but I'm so excited to be here today. We're going to talk about the topic that's on everyone's mind, only it's going to be a little different and more uplifting today than what we're through. I think everyone needs a lift up and to understand that there's silver linings behind all of this that's happening to us. We have a very special guest today that's going to talk about panic about the coronavirus. And that's not panic in the way you think. It's P-A-N-I-C. So Mr. Matt Garsper is with us today. He's going to give us a very good lesson on P-A-N-I-C. And he is the founder of Happy Living. So I'm really excited about this. So let me just go ahead and start. We're living in such a crisis right now, and all of us are trying to do everything we're supposed to be doing to keep ourselves and others as safe as possible. We've all have our own personal experiences of what can happen if we're not careful. And we're trying to improve, and what Matt's going to talk to us about today is the silver linings that we have and that will emerge from our collective efforts to kill the virus. So without further ado, let me go ahead and let Matt start talking. Matt, you've got some very interesting things you're going to talk to us about today. So go ahead and start.
Well, thank you, Nancy, and hello everyone out there that's holed up in our homes for now going on 3 weeks. Crazy times. About 2 weeks ago, I received a call out of the blue, and this was before everything started getting really, crisis level, I think. And the woman asked if I'd be a guest host on her podcast to talk about how I'm dealing with the coronavirus. Mm-hmm. And as Nancy mentioned, I run Happy Living. We write inspirational blog posts and books and spend our lives, shining a happy light on everything. And now I'm supposed to talk about how I'm dealing with the coronavirus. And I thought, well, yes, let me think about that over the weekend. And I did my interview on Monday. So I had to think about it deeply. What was I doing? And the first 2 words that I came up with was perspective and calm. And then I thought, well, that's fine, perspective and calm. And let me just talk to you about perspective. When big things happen, what I've done throughout my life, and I'll be 59 this summer, is I've always tried to put big things in perspective. So how do you put this disease in perspective? I was thinking, and remember, this was back when there wasn't 4,000 deaths in the United States. There was, maybe not even 100 yet. And I don't want to say yet, when you talk about death, you can sound like you're so insensitive, but we have to realize that people do die every day. And we're looking at it different today because there's a counter on our TV and we see the deaths every day. And the governors are telling us how many people died. And the president's telling us every night how many people died, not only here, but all over the world. And so how do we put that in perspective? And what I was thinking about is what would be a common thing that every American deals with and could understand that causes death that we don't have any national attention to. And the first thing I thought about was, what about bear attacks? And I thought, oh no, first of all, most Americans don't live where there are bears, so that wouldn't work. But what about pedestrian deaths? Crossing the street and getting killed by an automobile or a truck or a vehicle of some kind. And do you know, Nancy, there were almost 6,000 deaths from pedestrians walking in 2017 alone. Now, we didn't sound the alarm. We didn't have any reaction. We didn't mobilize the entire government apparatus and industry and shut down to stop and prevent a single more death from a vehicle. We just accepted it.
That's amazing. Yep. That's really amazing.
Let me add one more thing to it, because why I think it's happening. And let me just share these statistics if I can. Here we go. Of course, I had it set up, but now I've lost it. Just for perspective, heart disease in the US, 649,000 deaths. Cancer, 599,000 deaths. Accidents, unintentional, 169,000 a year. Chronic lower respiratory disease, 160,000 a year. Unintentional deaths, suicides, sad, 47,000 a year. So we don't mobilize for those. Maybe we should, but we don't. And the reason this is happening, the reason we all feel this way is because of these statistics. The global population is 7.7 billion people, okay? Yesterday when I did this research, there were 781,000 global cases, not global deaths, but global cases. That's about 1/100th of 1%. So it means 99.99% of the people in the world are not infected, and probably 99.98 will never be infected. That's the real statistics. Now listen to this. Total mentions in the media of COVID-19, 2.1 billion. And that's 11 times more than the combined total mentions from HIV, SARS, MERS, and Ebola. So this is a media virus as much as it is a medical virus, and that's freaking us out, and that's making us all take it not in perspective, but blow it out of perspective.
Yes, sir. I totally agree with you. I tell all of my, anyone that I run in touch with it, it's just amazing to me. And I read somewhere today where suicides, almost 50,000 suicides a year. And we're nowhere near that with the deaths from this. It's just blown all out of proportion. And it's really upsetting everyone. I saw something on Facebook the other day that said, just turn your TV off. Turn your TV off and play board games or something like that. Because it's really depressing, and it's really upsetting all of us. So it is an opportunity. So the perspective is the P in panic, right?
P in panic. Two more things I'd add to perspective.
Okay.
80% of the cases, you end up healthy, right? So even if you were to contract it, you're most likely not going to go to the hospital, and you're most likely going to be perfectly fine a couple of weeks later. So that's real too. And this is an unprecedented opportunity to help out, to take some time, and to do something kindly for your neighbors. You were just talking about the charity that you're going to be giving gift cards out to people. So if you're listening to this, at the end we're going to talk about how you can donate, and we can be giving gift cards to people who don't have the means to make it through these next 30 days. So putting everything in perspective, how does this disease, how does this crisis impact you? Not how do they say it might, not what the news says. How does it really impact you in your life, and what can you do with it now that we're in this lockdown situation?
Absolutely. Wow. And you're right about us helping our neighbors, because we don't know when the person next door is really hungry or sick or anything. So, we all have to be caregivers in this crisis. And you know what? God's in control. God's is a big person. He held the whole world in his hands, and he can do it again. It's just the media is blowing it all out of proportion as far as I'm concerned. Okay. So let's move on to the panic, the A in the scenario.
Okay, so A is something what came up with perspective and calm, and then I had to figure out how to make it so something that I could make sense. And so I came up with A, adapt, and the adapting was really important personally, because I would say most of February, beginning of March, my attitude was basically, this is complete nonsense, and way blown out of proportion, and I was giving it no thought at all. I thought it was just nonsense, and I had to adapt myself and say, no, I can't resist this. This thing is happening, and I need to fully accept the crisis. for what it is, a temporary situation. So that's the first adapting I had to do. I think we all have to stay at home. You know, whether that's the right decision or the wrong decision, I'm not going to even worry about that. That's our national and it's our state decisions. So I think we need to listen to what the officials are saying and don't resist it. Just get all in. This is our duty to our neighbors and to ourselves. So that's part of adapting. Stay at home as much as possible, listen to the officials, and then do what you can in your current situation. Stay healthy, eat well, sleep well, sleep a lot, catch up on your sleep. A lot of us don't get enough sleep. Find a way to exercise regularly. And most of all, be kind and have some fun. Keep it in perspective. And, you know, Nancy, I found myself just on Monday. I just was sad and I couldn't shake it. And I'm saying, wait a second, you're supposed to be the panic guy. And, you know, it just started weighing on me. And I just had to stop back. I think I did some exercise or something to try to snap out of it and realize that sadness isn't going to help anybody. Worry is not going to help anybody. Being frightened is not going to help anybody. What can I do? What can I do today? And if I do that, I get engaged in that and I adapt to my current situation, I'm going to feel better. And
absolutely. You know, I'm amazed at how the same things that we're supposed to be doing every day is more emphasized now because of this virus, because we're all supposed to be getting a lot of rest. We're all supposed to be eating properly. We're all supposed to be exercising regularly, even though it may be little sometimes, it's still exercise. And also, we're supposed to be kind. We're supposed to love one another and help one another, as well as we're supposed to have fun doing that. So, I mean, it's just, if anything good is coming out of this, as far as I'm concerned, it's that we're re-looking at what we're supposed to be as human beings. And I think that's great. I mean, I'm really sorry for the amount of deaths we're going to have, but I just think that we have to do what we're supposed to do, stay indoors, do it to protect ourselves and protect our family and our loved ones and our friends, and then this too will pass. But it does concern me a little bit, Matt, about the small businesses and are they going to be able to come back? But I know God will make a way. So let's go on through the scenario of the panic.
So in, I was having a hard time figuring out how I get to an inn, and that was the last one I came to. And I said, nest, you're at home. Take care of your nest. And you know, they call you empty nesters when your kids leave. Our home is where we nest. It's where we live. We spend so much time. And so what if we, during this time that we're forced to be home, we try to do something, anything that we can do to make this area that I'm living in, my home, whether it's a house or an apartment or whatever, wherever you live, to make it a little bit more like a paradise that you want. And it might be as little, last Sunday, just a few days ago, I went out and I cleaned out my garage. And in the cleaning of the garage, I was getting some exercise. I was distracted from everything that's going on around me. And when I was done, like you're always, when you do something like that, I was proud of my garage. It was all nice and clean. And, you know, maybe you want to buy something. Maybe you always wanted to have a coffee grinder to go along with your coffee. And so you make that little purchase. And now all of a sudden you're just getting a little bit more joy out of your morning coffee with your spouse. Anything that's going to make you feel better, creating a little yoga area that you've been thinking about for years, but you haven't done. So do something that makes you enjoy your nest more, and especially something that might be permanent, so that even when this is over, you've improved your home and your living situation in a way that you would not have done maybe otherwise. That could be a little tiny silver lining that comes out of this mess.
Absolutely, and really that's not really tiny because people have needed to clean out their closets, their drawers, and everything at home. And I know my son and daughter-in-law have gone through all of that already. They've got the house spick and span, everything cleaned out. They've donated stuff, and now they're working on the outside. So I'm like, this is really a good thing. And you know what it reminds me of, Matt? It reminds me of when I was a child. I was born in 1953, but in the 50s, that's what we did. We came home from school to our neighborhoods, to our homes, and we got to play outside for a little while. But at a certain time, our parents called us and we went in and we all sat down and we had dinner. That kind of thing is starting to happen again in our country because people are confined to their homes and they need to make the best of it. But I also saw today, and I sent this to my grandsons, one of them's a health freak, very much so, eats very healthy, he's really, really good. And I saw banana splits for breakfast. And the ice cream was replaced with yogurt, and it was like a banana boat, and it had all this fruit, nuts, and yogurt in it. And I thought, that's really cool. That's something that would bring a lot of people joy. It sure would me, and I knew my grandson would really like that because that's one of those guilty pleasures that he would do as long as it's healthy. So I thought that was kind of cool. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and so take that example. And now, that's your son, you said, did the banana splits? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so now he could post that on his social media, share that idea. Other people can now learn from that. So we can, even though we're separated, we can be together in a different way because of the amazing world we live in. And that's, part of the reason that we're feeling so bad is because of the onslaught of social media. But we can respond to that with kindness, with goodness, with fun things, with, hey, this is what I learned to do today with my kids, and I can share it with other people. And then you might have, created an idea that brings joy to other houses that you didn't know before, and to people you didn't know before, and you create new friendships. So we can combat the negativity with positivity coming out from our homes as it is today.
Which I absolutely love that idea. I'm trying, and I copy a lot. But anyway, I'm gonna post that picture on social media because it just made me happy when I saw it, and I showed it to one of my friends that was with me, and I'm like, wow. So I sent it to him. But anyway, it's just something you're gonna have to go to the store to get certain fresh fruits and vegetables anyway. So you might as well make the best of it. So I want to do a quick commercial break now here for WYTV7. And Matt mentioned a while ago that we're doing donations to families that are in need of something. And we have an e-gift card app that we have access to on WYTV7 that has over 300 cards. And people can donate to WYTV7 and decide who they want to send the e-gift to, and they can go to the store or the restaurants and buy stuff. Of course, you can't really go inside restaurants, but you could order it and use that gift card. It is a tax-deductible donation to WYTV7, which is a 501c3. So I'm going to take a quick little break here to do a commercial break for WYTV7, and we'll be right back with you, okay?
Stop using chemicals and start healing with silver. Pick up Third Rock Essentials Silver Infusion Blue Bottle, our concentrated Excelsior Serum, or any of our silver-based personal care products for your gut, your gums, a UTI, a cut, a bite, or even bad breath. Until Big Pharma took things over and began telling us little people that all we knew about our health was wrong, silver was a primary component of the medicine cabinet since way back before the ancient Greeks. If you had access to it, you lived a longer, healthier life. Being born with a silver spoon in your mouth turns out was a good thing. At Third Rock Essentials, our signature chelated silver oxide formula is our key ingredient because we know it's simply the world's best weapon in the fight against infectious bacteria. Third Rock, personal care products you can trust.
Thank you and welcome back. Like I say, we're really excited as we can possibly be during this virus crisis that we're having. But we have Matt Gersper here today, and we're talking about panic about the coronavirus. So Matt, go ahead and continue.
Yeah, so panic, perspective, adapt, and nest we've talked about. You just mentioned, Nancy, giving charitable giving. And one of the things I've been thinking about is, as individuals, we've got to do everything that we must to keep ourselves happy and to protect our family. And so that's what we talked about earlier, listening and so on and so forth, staying home, doing what the officials tell us. But the next thing is we can do everything that we can to improve ourselves or to help others. So if you can give, it's going to make you feel really good to give, and you're going to help somebody who really needs it. So it's a great time for that. At the same time, I know people get upset with, well, maybe I'm not giving enough. And you can never give enough. So make the decision personally, what you can do, what you must do, what you can do, and then do that, and then relax about it. So all of us could give everything that we had and destroy our lives and our careers if we gave everything away, right? So there's a magic point, and that's a personal one. So try to find it for yourself and then live it for yourself and then relax about it. So I is invest. It's along the lines of what we were just talking about. And when I first thought about invest, I had one thing in mind, and I've since evolved it into 3 different things. A lot of people are affected by the stock market, whether you're an investor directly, whether you're an investor through your retirement account. And the stock market also is one of those things that gets lots of news, especially when it goes way up and when it goes way down. And so along with being afraid of the virus, people are also panicked about their financial future. Because here's the statistics with the stock market, and it's also kind of blow your mind. The 2009 financial crisis, the stock market went from about 14,000 at its high to 7,000 at its low, so it dropped 7,000 points. But it took 511 days to do that. Okay, this current one, the stock market went from almost 30,000, 29,388 on February 14th, and it dropped to below 20,000 33 days later. Talk about panic, right? That's a third. It's a third of your wealth, a third of your retirement gone, except it's not gone. If you owned 1,000 shares of stock on February 14th, you still own those 1,000 shares on 33 days later. They just were not worth as much in today's market. That's just like if your house drops in value, it's still your house. It has just as much value for you because you're not selling it then. So your stock portfolio is exactly the same as it was before this crisis to now, if you don't panic and sell everything, and if the market comes back before you need it. And almost by definition, if it's a retirement 401k, you don't need it. You can't use it. So forget about it. And by the way, if you're an employee and you're working and you're still making your salary and you continue to invest in the market with dollar cost averaging, maybe you put in $500 a week or $500 a paycheck or whatever your plan is, as the market drops, you're getting more and more value for every purchase. So if you're investing for retirement, this is the greatest thing in the world. Let the market be down and low and let it stay there until the day of your retirement, then you want to snap back. So the first thing with invest is to keep dollar cost averaging. If the shares dropped and you don't need them, don't sell them, don't panic. This is going to pass. And your portfolio is going to be worth more probably by the end of the year. Maybe it's the year after that. But if it's retirement, you don't need it. Number 2, invest in your nest. We talked about that. Do something. I read about this infrared sauna, portable sauna. And it's supposed to really be good for your health. I've been hearing about it. I read it in a book. And so I think I'm going to make that purchase. And so that'll be at my house, and I'll be now all excited about it. So something big, something small, depending on what your means are, it doesn't make any difference. Do something to invest in your nest. It'll make you feel good. And the third is invest in your health. And with a special focus on investing in your immune system.
Oh boy, yes.
It's the immune system that that actually keeps us from getting sick. If our immune system is strong and vibrant, it can ward off almost anything that you send to it. It's when it gets weakened, whether that's by a disease or a condition that you might have. A lot of people, I think people were talking about childhood diabetes. So if you were a childhood diabetic, you have this underlying condition, this weakness. You were mentioning it with some members of your family. They have an underlying condition that makes them more susceptible. Well, that's because their immune system is not as healthy as it's supposed to be. So if we can boost our immune systems, then we can ward off disease. And so how do I do that? I'll just tell you how I do that. I do it by the things I talked about with adapting, eating right, sleeping well, exercising frequently. And I run a company called Third Rock Essentials, and we make, there's a lot of news these days about something called colloidal silver. And silver, if you're not in the health and wellness business, you've probably never heard about it. If you are kind of a health freak, you've probably been learning about it in the last 5 or 10 years. But silver for hundreds of years has been known by the medical community to be antimicrobial, antibacterial, and some reports say it's antiviral. And so in the olden days when they used to deliver milk to people, it was common to drop a quarter into the milk to keep it from spoiling. And so, the old medicine doctors, they knew they used silver, and it turned out, we did a study on this or some research on this, royalty used to eat from silver. And some think that's one reason they live longer than the peasants, because they had the benefit of silver boosting their immune system. And so,
wow, I love it. I love it when the antidotes go back to the old times, because our grandparents and our great grandparents, they had a lot of antidotes that really worked. And the thing about the quarter is just really fascinating because that's silver. So,
well, this is just my theory, but what's happened, there's a new wave towards health for sure. There's a new wave for not eating processed food made by big corporations, but eating real food. I didn't even know what processed and real food meant, until about 5 years ago. Well, processed food it's food that's made in factories. It's not grown on a farm. And so there's this movement away from big business, big corporate things that you can make the case have maybe put profits over people and planet and allowed some nasties to get in our products. So food is not as good for you if it's processed food compared to raw natural foods. Same thing with medicine. We went from this, a community, a country, a world really, of small country doctors that if you or your child got sick, they came and they visited you. They actually tried to determine what caused the symptom. They just didn't give you some drug that the drug companies sold to them and pitched them as the drug of the day. They actually tried to find out why your nose is running and solve the underlying problem. Up comes big business, big corporation, big medicine, big pharma, and all the country docs are gone. And now medicine is not a general doctor who takes care of everything, but it's a specialist. If you have sinus, you do this. If it's thyroid, you do this. You see this guy, you see that gal. And so everything is segmented in the big corporate way. And lo and behold, there is this new thriving industry of functional medicine doctors. Sometimes they're also called naturopaths. I didn't know what that meant. I asked one of them, and they said, we're kind of like your old country doctor. And so they do exactly the same thing. They treat the patient, not the symptom, and they slow down with you. They get to understand you, and they help you with your health primarily through natural remedies, if possible. And if not, then sometimes we need Western medicine. Sometimes we need medicines. Sometimes we need, especially if you need surgery or something like that. So there's this real movement towards getting back to the old ways of doing things. And I think it's really exciting. Our company is, we can't keep this silver in stock. People are really looking for a way to boost their immune system that's natural. And it's not just silver. If you're listening to this and you want a natural way to boost your immune system, just Google it. How do I boost my immune system? There's lots of,
Yeah.
and other kind of natural products that people recommend for boosting your immune system.
Absolutely. And you know what, Matt? It just makes perfect sense. I mean, what goes around comes around, and God has a way of putting us in the right mode again. So I'm really excited about that too. Also, we don't have much time left, so I want to get to the last letter in panic, C, which is calm, which is one of my favorites because I like for things to remain calm and cool, calm, and collected. So go ahead with the calm.
3 C's, that's panic. So here's something I learned as I started Happy Living about 5.5 years ago, and I really started, up until that time, I was a business guy. I didn't really think about health and wellness in a serious way. And what I learned is anything that goes into your body that is not supposed to be there, that the body senses as toxic, the body responds to it. And your immune system attacks it. And if that substance is going in chronically so that your body never gets to rest from it, it creates chronic inflammation.
Yes.
and disease. And that's how a lot of these modern diseases of Alzheimer's and all these anti-inflammatory diseases, these are relatively new. And these are from chronic stress on the body, where the body gets to rest and heal. Well, your mind, your thoughts can also create chronic stress on your system, thereby weakening your immune system. So in the old days, my first half of my life, if I use this example all the time, if my daughter fell on her skateboard and broke her wrist and I had to take her to the emergency room to set her bone, and it made me miss my workout, I would be physically upset by it. And what I learned is that physical upset is causing the negativity that I exercise to try to avoid and overcome. And this is a classic example. If you are home watching TV 24/7, watching the death count, and just working yourself up into a fearful little ball, you are going to have chronic stress. That chronic stress is going to weaken your immune system, and that will make you more susceptible to the disease. Makes no sense. So we have to relax, do everything you can to try to relax. And one of the best ways, I think, is follow this panic protocol, but keep things in perspective. It's very, very, very unlikely that you're going to get sick from this disease. Some people will, and we know thousands of Americans are dying, but thousands of Americans also died by suicide, and nobody's talking about it today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're absolutely right. Well, I think it's just really, it's all coming around full circle. I mean, we all needed a wake-up call, but I just hate how it's so blown out of proportion because it hurts everybody and it worries us all. And I appreciate you for sharing all those facts and all those statistics with us. And I hope that everyone has learned a little bit more about panic, about the coronavirus. I hope you listen well and really pay attention, because this has been excellent information, Matt, and I thank you so much for sharing with us. So we will see you next time, and we're going to put some of your contact information up here so people can contact you. I'm sure they're interested in the silver you were talking about, as well as other things to help our autoimmune system get built back up so we can weather this disease if we should happen to get it. So thank you so much.
Thank you all. Be well, be safe, stay happy.
Thank you.